Yo guys, how you doing? Today we're going to be taking a look on how to paint both broken glass effects and these very cool looking anime style robot faces on our 6 of the 7 dwarfs. We've got Dopey and Happy up there at the front. There's Grumpy looking suitably hacked off. Now we're going to take you through the entire process that we've done here. So everything from the planning stages all the way through to the freehand itself. It's going to be a fairly straightforward thing to do, so let's get to it. First thing you need to do, like I said, is get your planning stage sorted. So just for the notepad, just jotting down some ideas for what I'd like to do on each of the 6 of the 7 dwarfs that we've chosen. So we've got Doc, Dopey, Grumpy, Happy, Bashful, and Sleepy. Decided I couldn't work out how to do anything for Sneezy, but essentially just jot down ideas in free form. You see we've got most of a page worth. Once you're done, select the ones that you like, and then move on to the painting itself. Now here's what we've done up to on these robots. This is covered in last week's Patreon video, and it will be covered as well in next week's Patreon video due to the magic of cinema. What we're going to do today though is kind of the final step, but I figured this one would be better on YouTube. So we're taking some Signar Blue base and some Thramar Black. We decided that we're going to put that in over the entirety of the faceplate as a way of gradually introducing the blue tones that we want on our robot. So just get it in nice and dark, keep that nice blue background. Once that's done, now I'm going to start glazing things on. Now glazing is simple, don't get all wrapped up in the technicalities of it. What I'm doing with my brush, I'm taking the brush strokes from the outside to the inside, our darkest point, the point of least impact that this paint should have on the model, to the point of most impact. I'm going to do about 3 coats of this all the way through, and keep that brush strokes going all in the same direction, so outside to inside, and turn it upside down if we need to, and get all of those in. By the time we've done 2 to 3 coats of this, making it ever so slightly smaller each time, we'll get a little bit of a fade coming through, and what we'll end up with right at the very end is a nice brighter blue section towards the middle of our faceplates, and then a darker version of that around the outsides. Next up, we're going to take another lighter glaze. I'm going to start drawing some lines in this. I want this to be those sort of static lines going up the stream, and we'll leave this running. You can see the brushstrokes again moving in that right direction, but I want to talk to you guys about Patreon and about Twitch. Like I said earlier on, the robots that we've done the work on so far, the first video of that will be up on Patreon as of last week, and the next video, which is some extensive weathering, will be up next week. You can also catch me live on Twitch 4 nights a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays from 9 PM, and Saturday mornings from 11 AM, all times in GMT. I'd also like to thank 4 Patreons that we've had this time round. Brage, Yagaran Loken, Exploding Fruit, Stephen Marsden, and Lance Jackson. Hopefully I didn't murder any of those names too much. Thank you to all of you that support me over on Patreon and Twitch. I really appreciate it. You are literally keeping the lights on. If you're on YouTube as well, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment if you'd like as well. So you can see these lines are just coming in there, starting to build that up, and this is just to represent that kind of static effect on a TV screen, like an old TV screen. We're doing this just to create a bit more interest behind the expression we're going to put on there. Last part of this is just to add in a quick line along the bottom of there. Now because we've glazed that first lot in, and now we're coming in with a very sharp single line of paint, you're going to end up with that nice looking fade from one to the other. That's not really what you've done, but you can see it there. That's the effect that you've gotten. So a very easy way to get that going on. Next up, we're going to start drawing the face. Now, I'm going to speed through quite a lot of this because it took about 5 minutes in total, I think. But we're going to start off with everything you do with normal freehand, which is just marking out some details. So there's 2 dots for the center of each eye and 1 dot there for where the mouth is going to end up going. And we speed through this. You see we're adding in a little line on each eyeball. This is going to give us something that we've got to use as a map. Once we've got a little bit more of that going on, we can start fleshing it out towards the right width. So we're building on a cross, then just drawing in that circle using a cross as a template. I've decided this isn't quite large enough, so we extended that line, block that out a little bit round for the eyeball, and then we can fill in the rest of that. We duplicate that, of course, on the other side, and this is just using a light blue. This is lighter than the last line that we did on that bit of static. So everything will start to build towards a much brighter version of that blue as we finish our freehand. This is Dopey, one of the 6 dwarfs. So we need to get that question mark in here somewhere, and you'll see towards the end that I changed my mind on that from the design. Don't ever be tied in to your plan too much. Be aware that things will change. So there's the eyes, there's the mouth, and then here's the question mark would have gone in the middle. I decided maybe we could fit it in up here. No, that's not such a good idea. Let's move it down to the bottom. And we've just done a very straightforward question mark. Blocked it in just a little bit fatter around the edges there, and bam, there you go. That's Dopey, and his base coat's done. The rest of this, much more simple, because we've given ourselves a map right now. So some Lothern blue, 4-to-1 with some Signar blue. So we're still retaining a little of that darker blue in there, but we want to start building this up quite bright. And what we're doing now is we're just painting just inside the outside lines on all of that. The reason we're doing this, a little bit like we've done with other aspects of the paint job so far, is just to have that little bit of a fade out, that little extra sort of blur, maybe a loss of definition or something on the screen. That's the kind of plan. We're going to keep that going now, though, with our next highlight color that we're using. It's using some Sickly Skin, also from P3, a fantastic off-white with a little bit of blue in it. And do exactly the same again. So we're just retaining a little bit of that sort of fuzzing out around the edges. So blocking both the eyes, do the mouth, hit some of the areas on that question mark, and so on. Now for yourselves, when you're painting something like this, you don't have to paint crazy anime faces like I'm doing here. You can do anything you like, but the same techniques and the same theories apply. So we're now building up more of a highlight, 2-to-1 now with Sickly Skin, and we're taking that right up to a nice bright blue in the middle of those eyes. Again, going to hit all the same areas on the miniature, the mouth, and that question mark. So you can see the plan, you can see where it's going, just a little bit of that repetition to ensure that what we've got is a good and polished finished product. Now going with a 1-to-1 mix of Lothern blue and Sickly Skin. This is where we deviate ever so slightly from the plan before. So now what we're doing is we're just trying to get in some shape to those eyes. You can see a little highlight towards the top and a couple of highlights that just come down the sides enough, but not blocking it in the middle there to help you draw that nice bright point on the miniature. Then with one final highlight, now we're going more Sickly Skin than we have Lothern blue. We're just going to come in and essentially dot the eyes. Hit the top area of that, a little part on that bit down the side, and before you know it, this guy's done. Look at that, he's got loads of fun expression on his face. Now, let's start breaking some glass. So this is Grumpy, and all we're doing for the first part of our broken glass is we're drawing a line across the face. We're using a very dark blue that we've mixed up, and we're going to get a very straight line in if we can. Frequently, when glass shatters, when glass cracks, you're going to get very straight lines from it. It's been a very abrupt thing that's happened. So draw in that darker color. Make sure you've got something that's going to happen in an interesting way. Now you can use this for anything that you're doing that's got a glass effect. Plague Marine flamer tanks and all that sort of stuff. It's a very useful but quick way of doing it. It's literally a two-step process. We've done step one, draw in the darker area, retaining some of the color that we've used there, and now just add in a little bit of thinned white ink. You want to keep the white ink above every instance of that line. If it goes below it, it doesn't quite look right. The darker area below it is what sells the 3D effect, and the reason why we've gone with a mixture of our base color and black rather than just black is because when you look at a piece of broken glass, it's frequently a dark version of whatever else is around. It's not going to be a straight black line. So there's this bit done, and once again with the silly visual effect, why not? There he goes. And if you want to add in more of a cracked glass effect, just do more dark lines. Remember to highlight above it with each little bit of white. No wonder Dopey's so confused. He's had his face smashed in, angry, obviously pissed off at the crack in his lens. And there you are, guys. Simple ways to do some very cool freehand to add some character to your AdMech robots. I really like these guys. If you want to see how you do the weathering, check out last week's Patreon video and stay tuned for next week's where we do a lot of that additional grime and so on. Hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.